doing well. I just hate holding this phone. It's so annoying. My tripod has been damaged. I say damaged, broken. It broke all on its own. Okay. There were a couple of times where it did fall, but even before that, I've had issues with screws loosening and I can't tighten certain certain parts of the tripod. It's really ridiculous, and I don't want to be fidgeting with it. So, yeah, maybe I have to invest in another one. But anyways, I hope you're all doing well. It is a Wednesday and it's been really cold. It's quite a dull day today. I don't know if you can see it, but even though the light is popping up, it's really dull. The clouds are gray and dull as what? What's dull? As you could say as boring people. There you go. It's just not my favorite type of weather. Unless you're living in a beautiful forest, then I'll say, you know what, that's cool. Anyways, we have to talk about Content Cop. I think today is the 16th, and Content Cop apparently supposed to be out today. Now, obviously, I'm living ahead of time. In my country, I think it's like 8 hours ahead. So yeah, I am living in the future, so I don't know when iDubbbz is going to be posting his next Content Cop. Now, if you don't know what Content Cop is, it's basically a commentary video, a really well put commentary video created by iDubbbz. iDubbbz really, really hit something amazing when he created this series way back, I think in 2015 or 16. And ever since then, people have been anticipating this series. And the last Content Cop was back in 2017, ages ago. And I remember that. I remember when it dropped because back in 2017, the most hated YouTubers ever was not just PewDiePie, but were the Paul brothers. Logan Paul, Jake Paul, they used to be massive YouTubers, massive vloggers. Back in 2017, vlog back in style. And Jake Paul and Logan Paul managed to grow such a large audience. And most of them were children, yes, but I was just hating on these guys. I remember, I remember when I listened to the first time ever listening to It's Everyday Bro. I remember that. Oh my goodness, that was really insane. Like, oh my goodness, remember the England is my city? Yeah, I remember all of those. PewDiePie is next. Oh, those were the days, the good old days. And back in 2017, I thought 2017 was the worst year ever. And only now I look back into 2017 with a very romanticized lens. We do it all the time with the past. We say this year was the worst, but then years later we romanticize it. But 2017 was such a special year. It was in a positive and negative way for me. I remember it was always dull and rainy for the most part. That's why I don't really have any bright memories of 2017. It's mostly cloudy. Even when days were bright, I still remember them as cloudy. It's pretty weird. Regardless, I enjoyed some moments in 2017, and YouTube was the best part of 2017. The drama surrounding Logan Paul, Jake Paul, every day there was a new video talking about what Logan Paul did. Jake Paul lit a pool on fire. This was insane. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, these people have to be stopped. Savages, you know? And around like, I think October or November, I think November or December, okay, one of those months, I started watching Logan Paul, giving him a chance. And oh my goodness, his content is actually pretty cool. Like, Jake Paul's content was a bit more stereotypically vlogish, but Logan Paul unstoppable. The Paul brothers were unstoppable. Anyways, a lot of people wanted iDubbbz to make a content cop on Jake Paul. Instead, no, he made a content cop on Asian Jake Paul. In other words, Rice Gum. Now, Rice Gum, if you don't know, this dude was one of the biggest flexes back in the day. Really popular YouTuber. used to make a bunch of rap videos. I think he was the one who popularized "Mail Yourself in the Box" challenge. If you guys don't remember that, it was one of those really, really obscure challenges where you mail yourself in the box. And I think it was fake. His video was fake. I don't know if other people were faking it as well. But I did hear that someone died from performing that trend, which is unfortunate. And moving on, I remember Rice Gum, and now Rice Gum streams on Rumble. It's weird. I think on Rumble or Kick or maybe both. Regardless, regardless, it's weird to see him go from the top to restart again because this dude was big back in 2016, 2017. And remember one song he made with, I think it was Jake Paul's or Logan Paul's girlfriend or someone, their ex-girlfriend. Someone's ex-girlfriend. It was massive. Oh my goodness. Like reversing back to everything, it just brings back some good memories. I can't believe it because these days are just so horrible. And when you look back at days when when you once deemed it was horrible, you look back and realize, you know what? Maybe I misjudged those days, and it's correct. I feel like I was overreacting back in the day. It wasn't as bad as these days. Anyways, anyways, that was the last ever content cop, and it was so massive. It was like a massive way of washing everything away. Wow. And as the years progressed, iDubbbz kind of felt a bit more irrelevant. When he came, his girlfriend was selling OnlyFans, and everyone called him out on it, called him a cuck, a simp. It was so funny, and the thing is that it did take these memes a bit seriously as the days progressed. He was so embarrassed as the years flew by his old content, and he then brands himself as empathic. Oh no, as having empathy. Sorry, having some empathy. Apparently when he was, a bit younger in his 20s, late 20s, he was making all these racial slurs. Apparently, he never had empathy, but now he has empathy. Now, apparently, apparently, it seems that his girlfriend was kind of calling all the shots back in the day too, not just now being somewhat of a control freak. Anyways, iDubbbz really transitioned into doing a bit more documentaries, and that's cool. It brought him views, and that's fantastic. But on the other hand, I feel like now iDubbbz has rebranded into a leftist channel, a breadtube channel. If you don't believe me, check his channel out. Check his recent videos out. Most of it is not something you would normally do. Is becoming a breadtuber. He's hanging out with all of these weird breadtube adjacent and breadtubers. So it's so cringe, to see someone like that just become a breadtuber. We can excuse him being a simp and all that stuff, but let's face the facts that him being a breadtuber is a bit disappointing, you know? And scary. It's scary that he is like this. A lot of people say he evolved, but I think yeah, he did evolve into something even mean. Like he's truly mean now. Like back then he said he said he had no empathy. Now he claims he has empathy and he's dropping all of these mean spirited videos. So tell me again how evil he is now. Um, but honestly, you could be dropping a content cop on a few people. So I think it's going to be on either Sam Hyde or Charlie Kirk. Some of you guys are familiar with both those figures, and let me just say that it could be Sam Hyde. A lot of people will say, "Yep, it's Sam Hyde." I think it could be Charlie Kirk because you know what? This dude has a hate boner for Charlie Kirk. You can see it in his tweets, and it's so weird. It's so weird to see people transform into these what's the term? Weird people. Like I know I'm weird, but not that weird. iDubbbz went from saying the N word to now hating on people with empathy. By the way, he calls himself full of empathy now, but then it's like how how can you be full of empathy and at the same time be really mean to people? I have a feeling that you're truly a mean person. This isn't just for content. I can excuse the old videos as him just being an edgy twat, but now he claims to be full of empathy. So I'm guessing now he means all of those wacky stuff he says now. It's so crazy, and it's weird to see a lot of content creators transform from just regular people into extremely radicalized people. There are plenty of people online who have been radicalized by politics, and I'm not just talking about like on a few issues. I'm talking about many issues. So many of them are radicalized. It's so crazy, you know? And the thing is that they call everything alt-right, but they're the ones going further to the left. Yes, there are genuine alt-right people out there, but the alt-right people are pretty much very similar to the alt-left people. So in other words, they're becoming very similar. So the more radicalized these YouTubers and streamers become, the more heartbreaking it is to see, because these days people now just can't be human. They have to be some kind of radical form. And you can blame a lot of things, but you have to also blame a lot of audiences people cultivated over the years. They cultivated these type of audiences that that will obviously make them believe in illusions and demands that they either side with us or they're evil people. That's all I'm saying. It's strange. There's no diversity anymore in audiences too. Okay, I'm sure my audience is quite diverse. I'm sure it's very diverse. But regardless, here are my top five people it could be about, which I did mention: Charlie Kirk, Sam Hyde. It could also be about Ethan Klein. I know H3H3 and iDubbbz have been going through some tizzy right now, so I think it could be him, but they've been going through a problem recently. So I don't think iDubbbz may have just all of a sudden wanted to make something on H3H3 immediately. I think this has to be about someone else. It also could be about it could be about maybe a company like PragerU, uh, or uh, or America First. I think it's called that, or Turning Point. Sorry, Turning Point, or even Nick Fuentes. I think, a lot of people forgot Nick Fuentes. I think it could be Nick Fuentes. Nick. I have a feeling Nick is going to transition. I know it sounds, and that's the problem with people on the far right. It's like they're just as crazy as the far left. So it's like, there you go, same stuff. So I have a feeling it's going to transition very soon, very soon. And I feel like a lot more people will excuse him on his silly terms because he's trans. But anyways, it could be one of those five people. I just have a feeling it could be about Nick Fuentes or Charlie Cook. Now I have a new feeling: Charlie Cook or Nick Fuentes. Now a lot of people were saying, well, it could be Sam Hyde because you know he's going to post a video today, and Sam Hyde's birthday is today. So obviously there is some matchup. It's going to be interesting. Ooh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous to look at it. I unsubscribed from iDubbbz, by the way, so I don't know when the video pops up. I have to keep checking it. It's making me anxious, guys. It's making me anxious, really anxious. I'm afraid. And the thing is, I don't want to watch the video. I want to watch someone else rebuttal those talking points, because I now know that iDubbbz just is, once again, he has an abortion video. Check it out. It is one of the most, I don't even know how to say it, weird videos ever, in my opinion. And what's sad is that what's really sad is that um, IDUB is just going to continue to go far left, and I have a feeling he's also going to transition. How about that? I did a video months ago talking about which YouTuber is going to transition. iDubbbz is going to be someone who's going to transition. Let's face the facts, people. iDubbbz is going to transition. Now, some people say he's going to make a content cop on his old self, which is going to be a bit funny, but I don't think so. I think he already made enough apology videos for his apology tour. So there's that. Honestly, I just want my old iDubbbz back. It doesn't have to be making commentary videos. It can just be making unboxing videos or stuff like that, you know? You know, stuff like that. It doesn't have to go so crazy. It doesn't have to go so crazy. Uh, this is what happens, guys, when you don't have good influence. Anyways, let's change the subject. I have one more thing to talk about, which is pulp. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of pulp magazines from the old days. Now, Razorfist, one of my favorite YouTubers, introduced me to pulp, and I am so hungry for pulp right now. I wish I had all the money in the world to buy a bunch of pulp novels. Like, for example, I am really wanting to buy more of uh, Enid Blyton's books because it's really old, it's nice, it's good stories. I want to buy more of her books. I also want to buy more of like Smurf books. I don't have Smurf books. I know there's an archive for sale. It's like pretty expensive, but I want to buy Asterix and Obelix books, Tintin books. I want to buy a lot of the old stuff just to enjoy it, just to enjoy it. Really, I also want to buy some modern stuff like manga. Like I know Bleach was just a few decades ago, but I want to buy that. I want to buy the full set, not this version. This version is a full collector's edition, like uh, you could say on omnibus version. So three in one. I rather have the separate versions, separate books instead because it has individual art and the art is pretty good. So I want that. I also want the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z books, and even the Super books. I don't like the Super anime, but I think the Super manga will be really good. Can you just imagine how awesome it would be just to have all of those books? Fantastic. Fantastic. But I have to have my priorities straight. There's just so many books to buy, and I don't want to buy every single book. But pulp, I want to get into. Now, I know Razorfist recommended The Rocketeer, and apparently there is the complete version of The Rocketeer, everything created by the original creator. That's all you need because what comes after that is just it's just mishandling and slander of the character. So I'm just going to get what the original creator created. Then there's also a lot of stuff with Solomon Kane. Then there's well, technically Rocketeer isn't is it has the heart of. So anyways, talking about pulp. Um, so yeah, I want to get all those types of books. Doc Savage, The Shadow. Oh, I would love to get The Shadow. The precursor to Batman. Oh my goodness. I would love to get all of these stories. I feel less enthusiastic to buy a lot of the DC stuff because I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to be so invested in it anymore. All the comics that come out today from Marvel and DC are just politically correct sludge, and that's just it. And that's the problem. But anyways, I was watching this video. I think it was last night. Well, technically, I was brushing my teeth and listening to the video, like I always do. I like to listen to videos when I brush my teeth. It feels so soothing, so normal. Just in the middle of night, brushing my teeth, listening to a bunch of people talk about stuff every day. And I was watching this video about pulp, and the video was more about the community behind pulp and how they formed friendships. It wasn't specifically about every single point about pulp. It wasn't about the texture detail of pulp. It was more of a quick gloss over pulp. And I came across a comment that read something about why why pulp is so good. It's because they're unapologetic. That's the trip. They have all these stories, these over the top stories, about those stories. They're not trying to deconstruct anything, and that's the best part. I'm tired of deconstruction. I'm really tired of deconstruction. When it comes to any story these days, it always has to be a deconstruction of something, and you always think, for what purpose are they doing these type of deconstructions? Because there's no need to have deconstructions for anything anymore. It's overdone. There's hundreds of deconstructions of the same genre. There's no need to deconstruct anything. And the problem with deconstruction is it relies so much on something original. There you go. Simple as that. And the truth is, if you want to make stories as epic as pulp stories were, you have to be unapologetic about the whimsicalness and all this. It doesn't have to be ironic or unironic. No, no, sorry, ironic. I'm mixing these words up. Anytime I hear the words ironic and unironic, I always think of Reddit. Reddit has really mentioned these terms continuously for no reason. There's no need to mention the word ironic over and over. I unironically read books. There's no need to do that. Cut the word out. Reddit really ruined a lot of words, and um, definitely it's those two words. They overuse it all the time, and it's like, why? Anyways, so there's that. Just be unapologetic. And I think we need more stories that's for males that are going to be unapologetic. There's nothing wrong with having clean stories, but the truth is that even some clean stories, fan favorite stories, obviously have some kind of vulgarity. Point to these books right over here because a lot of people just think of them as silly children's books, but there's so much more than that. There's a lot of death scenes, a lot of a lot of light gore in these books. There's also a few moments that I would say are politically incorrect, and it's weird. It's so weird. It's like, yeah, these are for children, and yet they manage to do so much more than just be clean cut stories. I know the movies is just so corporate, but obviously there's something magical with the books and something really interesting that we don't really get a lot of these days with just almost all types of media. And I get it. If you're creating an adaptation, you want it to be the least offensive as possible. Anyways, so Here's the thing. So this really ties into the entire first topic of this video, which is IDubs, old IDubs versus new IDubs. Old IDubs obviously was someone who was unapologetic with his tone, with all sorts of his shenanigans, very unapologetic. New IDubs always has to do an apology to around every neighborhood because he said something a few years ago that most people don't even give a crap about. And what's even weirder is that a lot of people who are cheering him on to apologize never called IDubs out when he actually said those words back in the day. I remember when IDubs would say such slurs, people were fine with that. Did any of these commentary channels call him out? Absolutely not. That's the problem. It's now you see all these commentary channels coming out claiming that claiming that what iDubbbz did was so offensive, but none of them had the balls to call him out back when he actually said those words. So these days, a lot of people are just so politically correct, and this connects to topic. But let's just hold on that for now. You're either writing a story that reminds you of old iDubbbz, completely unapologetic, and does the darnest of stuff, and then you have new iDubbbz stories which are extremely corporate, has to be politically correct. You can't have the wrong politics because then that's bad. Always has to have some kind of political sermon because empathy, I guess. And that's about it, really. There's no fun anymore. All the fun is drained out, and everything just feels like it's trying to identify as fun, but in fact, it's just it's basically like how do I say it? Just because you call something fun doesn't mean it's fun. It's too sterile to be fun, in my opinion. You know, it reminds me of that episode of SpongeBob, where SpongeBob was becoming normal, but he loses everything that made him himself. And that's the thing. It's like that's being branded as fun, as the norm, and the only way to push back against it is to be unapologetically politically incorrect, and not just try to be politically incorrect to own the libs, Be politically incorrect because the story demands it. If you're writing a story about a man saving a woman, guess what? That story can be politically incorrect without you trying to be so fixated on owning the chuds. Oh, I'm sorry, not chuds. Uh, what do you call them? Actually creating some really imperative works of art that can also be politically incorrect and also be a really entertaining story. But anyways, moving on from that, we have to talk about something I came across on Twitter. It was a tweet, and this tweet was a screenshot of something said back in the good old 2019. Oh, look, the sun is coming up. It's more brighter now. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, it's still a bit. Okay, there you go. There you go. It's still what can I say? It's still cloudy, but it's slightly brighter than usual, which I like. Ebbing away, and soon the sun will bathe us with its wonderful and glorious heat. It's pretty cold today, and it is obviously starting to get into the winter territory. Anyways, final topic, which is this tweet. This tweet was a screenshot of something said in the good old 2019, and it was about how millennials had the tweet I would show you, but it was about millennials and how millennials were perfectly fine with making jokes, cracking jokes about every single person everywhere. Okay, all types of minorities, and they really loved saying a lot of slurs. But now all of a sudden they police the younger generation, my generation, because we are too offensive, which I think it's a bit mixed because I feel some of them are politically correct. Many of them aren't. Many of them are really offensive. You should check Instagram Reels comments. Oh my goodness, they are so politically incorrect. More politically incorrect than IDubbbz. Wow. You know, and cold water tastes so good. Anyways, the tweet was right because now you have trolls remorse, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Trolls remorse means, a lot of these people were fine back in the day saying such crazy statements. And obviously, this was all okay. If you said something like a slur online, it wouldn't get you penalized. You would get a bunch of likes, but that's about it. You could say certain words. People were fine with that. But now, the same people who were saying those words, who normalized saying those words online, are now perfectly fine policing everyone else. That's the worst part. I feel like 2016 really broke many people. The election time, it broke them. It really did. And everyone all of a sudden started to care about being PC, even though they said such nasty stuff back in the day. And many of them are so pro cancel culture, by the way, which is so annoying. It's like, excuse me, what? You want to cancel everyone for saying these statements? But for saying such small statements, because people like being canceled for the most ridiculous stuff. Okay, um, it's insane. But the worst part is that you have these people who will the same people who said those stuff years ago or may have done even worse stuff are now policing you. It's like it's so comedic, but also be a little series, a gag series where you have a lot of the old folk who used to say such nasty stuff. It used to be the rebellion, and now the not the rebellion anymore. It really ties into the entire IDubbbz theme. It's weird because this entire video was just going to be about IDubbbz, but then it turned into me talking about pulp, and now it's transitioned into talking about political correctness from millennials. And the funny thing is that we can use iDubbbz again as an example of this. iDubbbz is, I think, a millennial. And funny part of all of this is that this dude was fine with saying all of those stuff, and then until recently, he pulled up the ladder so no one else can say those words because he's going to be upset at everyone, even him for saying those words. So it's just double standards. It's well, not just double standards. It's hierarchy. Everything is inherently hierarchical. I don't know if that's a word. I don't even know. Um, Everything hierarchy, and these days the millennials now are the big polices, and I would say one day Gen Z is going to do the same thing. But obviously, it doesn't mean everyone from Gen Z are doing this. Same with millennials. Not everyone from that demographic are, are pro censorship in any single way. Many of them are possibly even more anti PC than ever before. So it's just a funny theme for today's video. It's all about political correctness, iDubbbz, and entertainment. So you know, thinking about iDubbbz, I am wishing him the best. I want him to return to normalcy. I want him to be a normal person again. Hopefully things can change. Hopefully. Anyways, I'm really tired of just talking right now. It's getting a bit brighter and I love it. I really do. Anyways, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.